Aloha and good afternoon. Welcome to This Is Now. We begin with a weather alert for you. Today is a first alert weather day as declared by our Hawaii News Now weather team. Take a look at some of the video from the Pali. It made for some wet roads this morning. We also have a video coming up from Maui. You can see the clouds rolling in. This comes as a cold front is bringing the potential for flooding around the state.
Yeah, the National Weather Service has also issued a flood watch statewide through Tuesday afternoon. Widespread heavy rain and a few thunderstorms are in the forecast. For the latest on that, let's send it over to Guy Hagi.
Aloha on this Monday. It is a first alert weather day. These first alert conditions are likely to hold on through tomorrow. By tomorrow afternoon, we're expecting this cold front to pull away. But for today and for the better part of tomorrow morning, we're going to have these heavy rainfall as well as some gusty kona winds. And that's why there is a flood watch posted across the state, which means flooding conditions are possible through tomorrow. So we've got these gusty winds coming up from the south. And that means it's going to be especially windy over on the windward sides. We could get some downed trees, maybe some spotty power outages. So prepare for that possibility. So it's going to be a cloudy, rainy day today. By lunchtime, we could see some thunderstorms firing up, maybe some isolated downpours as well. So that could lead to flooding conditions. And this is what we'll likely see through the night tonight, slowly easing up and drying up by tomorrow afternoon. And the surface is going to be rising because of the swell that's generated by that storm. It's not going to be that good, though. Because of those winds, it's going to be pretty choppy out there. 3 to 5 on the east side where the winds will be dropping down. So again, first alert weather conditions today and tomorrow. We could get some isolated thunderstorms along with some heavy rainfall, which could lead to flooding. And then it's going to dramatically improve by Wednesday with mostly sunny skies. But another cold front is due in. Not as juicy, not as dangerous, not as much rain, but still going to be pretty wet between Thursday and Friday. And then it should start to clear up by the weekend.
And be sure to have the Hawaii News Now news and weather apps downloaded to your mobile device for all the latest on the weather conditions in your neighborhood. Turning to other news now, jury selection is set to begin this morning in the trial of accused racketeering boss Michael Miskey Jr. According to Civil Beat, prospective jurors will not be questioned as a group, but individually, which is a change from the normal procedure. Miskey, a longtime Honolulu business owner, is charged with conspiracy to kidnap and murder Jonathan Frazier. Miskey falsely accused Frazier of being behind the wheel at the time of a car crash that killed his only child, Caleb. Frazier, who was 21 at the time, went missing in 2016 and his body has never been found. Miskey is also charged with assault in aid of racketeering, conspiracy to distribute cocaine and other drugs, robbery, use of a weapon in a crime of violence, a drug trafficking crime, and bank fraud.
On Hawaii Island, police are investigating a fatal house fire in Ocean View. Crews responded early yesterday morning to a home that was engulfed in flames on Aloha Boulevard. A severely burnt body was found inside. Police say an elderly man lived at the residence, but the identity of the body has not been released. An autopsy will be done to determine the cause of death. The home is considered a total loss because of the fire. Now, anyone with information on the case is urged to call Crime Stoppers at the number on your screen.
And on Hawaii Island, a 31-year-old Maui man is dead following a crash in Kailua Kona. Now, we're told the man was heading south near Hawaii Belt Road early yesterday morning when he crossed over the double solid lines and struck a rock embankment. Sadly, his vehicle overturned, struck a utility pole, and went down a 10-foot embankment. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Police do believe that speed and impairment were possible factors. And there's new details today on the woman that was hit by an SUV while on a moped here on Oahu. The crash happened in the Ke'eaumoku area around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. We're told the 23-year-old woman rear-ended a driver at a stop on Kapi'olani Boulevard, which is near Ala Moana. After that, she attempted to turn into another lane where she was hit by another driver. That threw her onto the road, and she was not wearing a helmet at the time of the crash. and she was taken to the hospital in critical condition.
Investigators are trying to determine what caused a door plug to blow out on an Alaska Airlines flight on Friday. Now, the scary mid-air occurrence happened without any serious injury, but also with plenty of questions for Boeing about its 737 MAX 9 jetliners. Chris Van Cleve has more.
Our first look at the crippled Alaska Airlines 737 MAX 9. Investigators say damage like this mangled seat has been found in nearly every row. Nicholas Hoke was on the flight Friday night.
A loud boom, or almost like a mini explosion, happens abruptly.
It was a 63-pound piece of the plane known as a plug door blowing out at 16,000 feet, leaving a gaping hole, forcing the 171 passengers and 6 crew to don oxygen masks.
Alaska, we're declaring emergency. We're descending down to 10,000, and we need to return back to Portland.
Saturday, the FAA grounded all 737 MAX 9s in the U.S., 171 of them, for further inspections. Boeing says it fully supports that decision, and safety is our top priority. In March 2019, the MAX was grounded for 619 days after 2 deadly crashes linked to a design flaw in the plane's flight control systems killed 346. The plane is still here at the Portland airport. It's been pulled over by a hangar where investigators have been working. You can see where that plug door is missing. The door was found late Sunday night. NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy. What happens if it had been at cruise altitude?
At cruise altitude, we could have lost the aircraft. At that point, the pressure differential is so great that the explosion would have been extremely violent, extremely.
The plane is just weeks old. The NTSB says when that piece blew out, it did so with so much force, it ripped open the locked fortified cockpit door 26 rows away. Boeing is planning a safety summit on Tuesday stemming from this incident. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Portland.
As the fallout continues from the Alaska Airlines incident, at least 6 flights out of Honolulu have been canceled today. A California-bound flight from Oregon lost a door plug while in the air Friday, and we've now learned that piece has been found. It apparently landed in the backyard of an Oregon teacher's home. Now, authorities say that piece could be key to the investigation into what caused it to detach from the plane mid-flight on Friday. NTSB officials say that some factors are complicating the investigation.
The cockpit voice recorder was completely overwritten. There is nothing on the cockpit voice recorder.
It's also been revealed that the plane had experienced multiple air pressurization alerts in the past weeks, including on the 2 days prior to Friday's incident. Alaska Airlines had banned the craft from flying over water, specifically here to Hawaii. Now, another factor complicating the investigation is the lack of eyewitnesses. No passengers were seated directly next to the section of the plane that blew off.
Alaska Airlines says it expects to be canceling flights for days. Yesterday, at least 9 flights to and from Hawaii were canceled. The travel disruption is being monitored by the Hawaii Tourism Authority.
If the numbers increase in terms of cancellation of flights and we can't compensate them by having them go to other airlines. Right now, I don't think there's any time to push the panic button. I think it's still moving in the right direction. Everybody's helping out. For visitors that are stuck here, need to stay longer. Hotels are doing their best to accommodate them. Airlines are trying to get them placed.
We spoke with a family of 6 from Eva Beach who originally was supposed to fly to Texas this weekend. They told us Alaska Airlines won't be able to put them on a flight for nearly a week.
Now to some other stories across the nation. A man who attacked a Las Vegas judge in her courtroom was back today in front of that same judge in that very same courtroom. Just 5 days ago, Deborah Redden was set to be sentenced for felony battery and was pleading with Judge Mary Kay Holsus for leniency. When the judge made it clear she would be sentencing Redden to prison time, he lunged and attacked her on the bench. He was quickly subdued and the judge suffered some minor injuries. Now, Redden was back in court today, and before sentencing, the judge made it clear that last week's incident did not change her stance. She ordered Redden to spend 19 to 48 months in prison. Redden also now faces an additional charge for last week's incident.
Israel says it has wrapped up major combat in northern Gaza and it has dismantled Hamas's military infrastructure there. This comes on the eve of another visit by Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Tina Kraus has more.
As Israeli troops fight Hamas militants in central and southern Gaza, Israel released new video showing strikes against Hezbollah militants who've unleashed rockets into northern Israel from Lebanon. A high-level Hezbollah commander was killed on Monday. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rallied his troops at the border, promising to do whatever it takes to restore Israel's security. As cross-border battles intensify, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in the Middle East pushing for diplomacy.
This is a conflict that could easily metastasize, causing even more insecurity and even more suffering.
He shuttled between capitals in the region, meeting with Arab leaders ahead of talks on Tuesday in Israel. In Gaza, there's pain for Palestinian civilians trapped in escalating violence as Israel vows to destroy Hamas. An Israeli airstrike near Rafah over the weekend killed 2 journalists, including the son of Al Jazeera's chief Gaza correspondent. 3 months into the war, heartbroken families of missing hostages left a long trail of empty shoes in Tel Aviv.
This is my shout to the world to bring them home.
More than 130 people, including Americans, are still believed to be held underground. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
In Japan, rescue workers are continuing their efforts and saved an elderly woman in her 90s more than 120 hours after a powerful earthquake struck the northwest region. The woman was found by crews in a collapsed house. The elderly woman was responsive. However, the other woman, who was in her 40s, showed no vital signs. According to the Ishikawa government, 126 people have been confirmed dead and more than 200 are still missing.
With the first contest of the 2024 presidential race just a week away, all eyes are turned to Iowa. Now, GOP candidates are descending on the caucus state, trying to close in on the frontrunner, former President Donald Trump. NBC's Drew Petrimo reports from Washington.
Countdown to the caucuses in Iowa. Republican candidates crisscrossing the state, making their pitch to voters.
We're in this to revive who we are as a country.
But make no mistake, we've got a mission. We've got to complete this mission.
The candidates chasing Donald Trump, far and away the frontrunner in polls, trying to steer voters away from the embattled former president who remains popular within the Republican Party.
I think President Trump was the right president at the right time. I agree with a lot of his policies. But rightly or wrongly, chaos follows him.
It's going to be really a tremendous victory in Iowa.
Mr. Trump also on the campaign trail in Iowa over the weekend, calling for the release of January 6 prisoners, labeling them hostages, and downplaying the day's deadly events.
They indicted me because I fought against a corrupt election. I got indicted.
President Biden heading to Charleston, South Carolina today to speak at the Mother Emanuel Church, where 9 black worshipers were gunned down by a white supremacist in 2015. It's part of Biden's push to highlight threats from the far right and continuing to focus on Trump's actions after the 2020 election.
It was among the worst derelictions of duty by a president in American history. An attempt to overturn a free and fair election by force and violence.
The battle lines being drawn as voters prepare to weigh in for the first time of the 2024 election.
Trump is expected to be in court here in D.C. tomorrow. His lawyers are set to argue that he's immune from prosecution on charges that he illegally tried to overturn the 2020 election. That argument was rejected by a federal judge and will now be heard by an appellate court. The case is likely to end up at the U.S. Supreme Court. In Washington, Drew Petrimo, NBC News.
In news out of the world of religion, Pope Francis is calling for a global ban on parenting via surrogacy. Now, the Pope made his remarks Monday at a meeting of ambassadors accredited to the Holy See. Francis called the practice deplorable and a grave violation of the dignity of the women and the child. He said a child is a gift and never the basis of a commercial contract. Critics say commercial surrogacy targets women who are poor and from vulnerable communities. Supporters say surrogacy gives women a chance to provide children to the childless couples and that commercial contracts protect both the surrogates and intended parents. Commercial surrogacy contracts are common in the U.S., including with protections for the mothers, guarantees of independent legal representation, and medical coverage. They are banned in parts of Europe, including Spain and Italy. However, the Vatican's Doctrine Office has made clear that same-sex parents who resort to surrogacy can have their children baptized. The Pope's new position follows his landmark decision to allow priests to bless same-sex couples but not perform marriages.
All right, let's take a live look outside with our tower cam. This is looking over downtown Honolulu out toward Diamond Head. The temperature right now, 76 degrees. You can see it's pretty cloudy out there. We're going to have more headlines coming up after a quick break, including some major changes to Social Security payments and a wrap-up of the Golden Globes. We'll be right back.
As inflation lingers, major changes are coming to Social Security payments and Medicare this year. Ivan Rodriguez joins us to break down how this could impact how you manage your finances.
Emily, for many people who are close to retirement, one hurdle is managing income that may be less than what you were making while you were working, and also maybe expenses that are lower in some areas but higher in others, especially doctor's visits. U.S. inflation continued to decline in 2023, and the financial picture for Americans, including retirees, is improving. For that reason, monthly Social Security payments will only rise by 3.2% this year, based on the cost of living adjustment. AARP Senior Vice President Bill Sweeney says the boost is a bit disappointing in contrast to 2022's 8.7% increase, a 40-year high.
This is probably not enough for them to be able to feel comfortable and confident about their savings.
Another concern, standard premiums for Medicare Part B are back on the rise. The portion of Medicare that covers doctor visits and other outpatient treatment is up 6%. On the bright side, people who haven't retired yet can now sock more money away. People 50 and over can contribute up to $30,500 to a 401k or another type of deferred compensation plan this year.
That's a little bit extra money that you can put away in your retirement, which is a great way to save and get caught up before you retire.
Finally, 4 decades after Congress voted to slowly raise the full retirement age from 65 to 67, the goal close to being achieved, reaching 66 in 8 months in the final half of 2024. While you can begin collecting Social Security before age 67, your payments will be permanently reduced. On the other hand, waiting until 70 earns you a bonus.
We really urge people to think about what is the right age to start claiming Social Security to maximize how much money you can get.
More than 71 million people depend on Social Security benefit programs, so yearly changes always seize attention, and you can hear there how experts are urging people, especially close to retirement, to really make a plan to make the most out of their benefits. Emily?
Yes, absolutely. And Ivan, I have a question for you. Can you tell us why Americans saw such a large increase in Social Security payments last year compared to this year's increase of just over 3%?
So it all comes down, Emily, to the cost of living adjustment, which bases changes in prices for a set of consumer goods and services, specifically in the third quarter. This time it was that third quarter of 2023 compared to the same time period in the previous year. Now, since inflation slowed considerably during that time, we ended up with this modest increase of 3.2% going in to 2024.
Got it. Thank you so much for your reporting, Ivan.
Well, last night, Hollywood rolled out the red carpet for the Golden Globe Awards. Entertainment Tonight's Nichelle Turner and Kevin Frazier join us now with some of their favorite moments.
What a night it was on the red carpet for the 81st Annual Golden Globe Awards.
And so many great moments. Let's just jump right in, okay?
Yes.
And let's talk about one of our favorite moments. Brie Larson walked past Oprah coming up on our podium, and she was like fangirling about Oprah. And then I said, well, turn around and look who's there and watch what happens.
Jennifer
Oh my God.
Jennifer, I know it's Jennifer Lopez. I know it's J-Lo.
I can't deal with J-Lo. You mean so much to me. Oh my God. I'm such a huge fan. I saw Selena and it made me want to be an actor, and you've always meant so much to me. Oh my God, don't make me cry. It's been a dream of mine.
Okay, can we talk about another moment?
Yes.
Jennifer Lawrence. She was there. She was having fun. I love the moment when she was nominated and she mouthed, "If I lose, I'm leaving."
Well, she told me that on the red carpet. But there's something that happens when Bravo-holics find each other. There's something that happens with us. When you find your twin flame, you just start talking housewives and you go somewhere else. This is what happened.
The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, I just want to give a shout out to the best finale I've ever seen on reality.
Can we talk about
TV.
it?
Oh my God.
The drama that they did. Receipts. Timelines.
Everything that you want for the truth. Receipts, timelines, I got it all.
Can we talk about our favorite moment inside the building?
Yes.
Was that we had a feed where we could see everything that happened in the commercial breaks, like this. Timothy Chalamet and Kylie Jenner.
Kevin
Look at the way he's
Frazier.
looking at her, though.
Love.
He's looking at her like, girl.
He's proud to have his lady on his arm last night, and he introduced her in a big way to Hollywood. I dug it. I'm here for it. We're going to have much more tonight on Entertainment Tonight, especially those moments that you did not see. So please join us.
Girl.
Well, after taking a few years off, a group of snow sculpting brothers is back at it with a new creation at a new location. Heidi Wigdahl takes us there.
When it's January in New Brighton, the Bartz brothers are bound to be outside.
It's been a fun journey. We never thought we were going to get into this. It's not something we aspired to be snow artists.
A snow day in 2012 snowballed into an annual snow sculpting tradition for brothers Austin, Connor, and Trevor. Each sculpture inspired by a sea creature and displayed in their parents' front yard.
We knew it didn't really work at our parents' house anymore. It was just getting too busy.
After a break during the pandemic, they're back.
Yeah, yesterday I started at 8 and I was here till 11:50 at night.
Packing in long hours at Brightwood Hills Golf Course.
For that side of the wall, how long did it
50?
take? What?
50 minutes?
57.
Woo.
Wow.
A new location and new face.
This is my brother Connor, and then the replacement brother Luke. It's been cool to see the process of the sculpture so far and how hard working they are.
Even without snow.
We just kept watching the forecast and we're like, okay, this isn't gonna happen.
But outside help is here. As long as temps stay down, the snow machine stays on. They use these bins to form all the snow blocks. Ideally, they'll sit out here for 2 days before being used on the archway.
So we're going to build 2 pillars up.
Soon they'll start on this year's sea creature. Donations raised will help provide clean water to a country in need.
And a lot of people in different countries, they don't have any clean water at all. So that really is what drives us.
Drives them to dig in each January.
You know, Ashley, I went to the beach a few days ago, and I made a perfect little sand ball. Does that count as sculpting?
Sure.
I was very
Sand
proud
artist.
of it. It was nice and spherical. Nothing like that, though. That's amazing.
Well, snow artist is an interesting job. And here's another one. So if you love hot dogs and you have a clean driving record, listen up, because Oscar Mayer today announced the opening for hot dogger applications.
Sign me up.
Inviting fans to apply for a 1-year, full-time, paid gig behind the wheel of the iconic Wienermobile. So the 12 chosen applicants will represent the 37th class of hot doggers. So you're basically the official spokespeople of the brand while living out the mission of spreading joy and sparking smiles. Now, you'll travel an average of 20,000 miles a year, visiting at least 40 cities across the country and attend more than 1,200 events, along with driving and maintaining the 27-foot hot dog on wheels. Hot doggers are also entrusted with creating social content for the brand's social media channels. And I'm sure you're all guessing, how much does it pay? Okay, so the base salary, $35,600, but there's also a weekly allowance of $150. You have 18 PTO days, full benefits, and 100% hotel expenses.
Yeah, sign me up. CDL required? I don't know. Thanks for watching, everyone.